Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya. Vyasam
Tato Jayamudhiraya.
Tato Jayamudhiraya.
Nastaprayeshu Bhavadreshu.
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki.
So here we are on the eve of the beginning of the Kirtan Mela, right? So very auspicious. So many devotees going to gather together to take part in the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Thus, of course, this is the Yuga Dharma, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world. His mission, one of the reasons, of course, the external reason for him coming is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Externally, the reason was to establish the Yuga Dharma, which is Harinam Sankirtan. So it's very nice how devotees around the world like to take part in Kirtan Mela. Kirtan Melas are very popular. Of course, you have them every year here. At this time of the year, and bring a good gathering of people. You have a holiday also this weekend, so it's appropriate to spend the holiday absorbed in chanting the holy names. Very nice. So that from 9 in the morning, I think, till 9 in the evening. First day is 10 to 10, other days from 9 to 9. So it's a very wonderful program to bring everyone together. Let everyone enter into the mercy of the holy name, the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after his initiation in Gaya, when he came back from Gaya, on his way, of course, he had a mystic experience of Kanai Natsala, and then he came back to Mayapur. And he didn't want to do anything else except chant the holy name. He'd become completely immersed in Krishna. And he just wanted to talk about Krishna and to chant Krishna's name. And at one point, he told all the devotees, we won't sleep anymore. We will meet every night and we'll pass the whole night in Kirtan. And every night they would meet at Srivasangam and they would have the nocturnal Kirtan. What do you think of that? We haven't established anything like that yet. We have Kirtan Melas in the day, but nobody's saying we should have it all night. But actually on Ekadasi, the program for Ekadasi, Mahaprabhu followed, did not eat, and he did not drink, and he did not sleep. And the whole night he would be awake, discussing topics of Krishna and chanting the holy name. So sometimes we also, as devotees, we also practice like that. I had the opportunity when Tamal Krishna Goswami was with us. Tamal Krishna Goswami came and he asked all of us to observe Ekadasi with him. And he asked us all, don't eat, don't drink, and don't sleep, and stay awake all night. And we were awake the whole night. Well, of course, we had temple. We were in the temple. And then this time, actually, that time I was in Philippines. I was in Manila. And we had a number of devotees there. Until not everybody did it, but a lot of senior devotees did it. And we all stayed there with Tamal Krishna Goswami the whole day, the whole night. And the next morning, after Mangal Arti, at the proper time, we broke the fast. So it was quite an experience, to stay awake all night chanting the holy name. And we do have in the Mayapur Dham and in Vrindavan Dham, we do also have nocturnal kirtans. It goes on, it's Akhanda Kirtan. It doesn't stop. Different people, there are shifts of devotees, and they will come and take turns to do the kirtan. In Mayapur, it's done at the original temple in Mayapur. Prabhupada, you could say Bhajan Kutir. It was the original temple in Mayapur. When they first purchased the land there, it was only a bamboo hut. And so now today, the structure has become a bit more solid, but the kirtan is going on. And it's going on, it's been going on since we purchased that land. So if you're ever in Mayapur and you want to take part in some kirtan, you can go there. They have Gorgadaha or Gornitai deities, yeah? And the devotees are chanting Akhanda Kirtan without stopping the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Mahaprabhu says, Kirtaniya Sadahari, that we should always chant the holy name. And he has described this in the Shikshastikam, of course, in the third verse of the Shikshastikam. He described how we have to, what should be our mood to chant the holy name constantly, right? Kirtaniya Sada Hari, always chant the holy name. He said, Mahaprabhu said we should first of all think of ourselves, we should be more tolerant than the tree. Tolerance is one of the important qualities of the devotee. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila was talking to his mother Devahuti, and he was telling Devahuti, his mother, that she should become attached to a sadhu, because her husband, Kardama, had gone, left home. He'd given her a son, and he told her, once you have a son, then I want to go back and pursue the path of renunciation. I want to prepare for my spiritual life. So Kardama Muni, he had accepted Devahuti as his wife, and they traveled together, and they enjoyed together, and they had children. I think they had 9 daughters and 1 son. But when the son appeared, then Kardama Muni said, now my duty is done, now I'm going. So Devahuti was left with her son. Of course, her son was no ordinary son. Her son was an incarnation of God. And Srila Prabhupada said, you want to have children, you should have a child who is an incarnation of God. That should be the thinking of the couple at the time of conceiving a child. That we want a child who is an incarnation of God, or at the very least, this child will not have to take birth again in the material world. This will be their last birth. And we also hope this will be our last birth also, right? don't want to come back again in this world. So we hope especially our children, that even if we're not able to fully liberate ourselves, we hope our children will be very nice devotees and they can go on and cultivate God consciousness and they won't take birth again. Actually, devotee couples having children, they will naturally attract a good soul and an advanced yogi into the womb. Bhagavad Gita describes that when the yogi is advanced but still not quite perfect, then he will take birth in the family of devotees. So devotee children are very special because they're born in Krishna consciousness. So their whole life is in Krishna consciousness from the beginning of their life. They learn to chant the holy name, they see the deities, they learn to bow before the deities, and they learn also how to honor prasadam, and they hear all the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So the children in Krishna consciousness, very special. So Devahuti, she had Lord Kapila. He's an incarnation of God. And Lord Kapila is telling his mother, his mother was missing her husband naturally. But Lord Kapila is telling her, you have to become attached to a sadhu. He said, attachment for the material is the cause of the greatest entanglement. But that same attachment, when it's applied to the Lord, that is the cause of liberation. So this is the practice of Krishna consciousness, that we have to change our attachment from the material to the spiritual. So Lord Kapila then went on to describe the ornaments of a sadhu, because he was telling his mother, you have to become attached to a sadhu. So naturally she needs to know, well, how do I recognize a sadhu? And Lord Kapila told his mother the qualities, the ornaments of the sadhu. And the very first one he mentioned was titikshava. Tik meaning tolerance. Titikshava, karunika, sadhubhusana. Sadhubhusana, the ornaments of the sadhu. Just like, devotees, we have our tilak, we have our bead bag, and so many things like that. You can recognize people. Oh, you're Hare Krishna, is it? Are you Hare Krishna? She saw my bead bag, and then she began to dance and change the body. So very nice, Book distribution is very powerful. So gradually, we hope in the future she will also continue. So ornaments of the sadhu, tolerance. We have to be tolerant. And Lord Chaitanya also said the same thing in the Shikshastikam, in the 3rd verse. Trinadapi sunichena, right? We have to be more tolerant than the tree. The trees tolerate the heat and the cold and the wind and the rain. They tolerate all the conditions. People can come, cut the branches, and people, at the same time, the tree will go on, provide flowers and fruits. So this is the tolerance of the tree. Although people take advantage and abuse the tree wants to give to others, offering service to others. So we want to cultivate that kind of quality, be tolerant like the tree. And then Lord Chaitanya goes on to say, we should think of ourselves lower than a straw in the street. Tunada pisunichina taror apisahishnuna. we think of ourselves as very low, very small. And this is an important point. We want to understand our spiritual dimension. We have false ego. False ego is where we identify with the body. And we think, I'm a big man, or I'm a small man, or whatever. We identify with the body. But real ego is to identify with the soul. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, think of ourselves lower than a straw in the street. So what is the dimension of the soul? You know? What is the size of the soul? Yes, 1/100 of 100 of the tip of the hair. In other words, it's very minute. It's lower than the straw in the street. We should think of ourselves in that way. That is the actual ego. Our real true ego is to think of ourselves as a spirit soul. And the spirit soul, part and parcel of Lord Krishna. We are all eternally meant to be servants of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. But in material life, because of the false ego, this ahankar, we are thinking, I am the doer. I am the... In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna himself describes the asuric nature. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, there are so many Bhagavad Gitas here. Very good, yeah. Yeah, we're coming up to the Gita Jayanti, so it's a nice time to distribute Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes there are two natures, Daivi Sampat and Asuric Sampat. So Asuric Sampat, Lord Krishna says, Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhoham balavam sukhi. The demoniac person in the demoniac mentality is thinking, Ishwaraham, I am the enjoyer. We're thinking everything is for my enjoyment. We don't think about serving and offering all things for the enjoyment of Krishna, but we think me first, offer to me, give to me. So this is the asuric sampa. Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhoham balavam sukhi. Siddhoham, I'm having all the powers, I'm powerful, I'm balavan, I am strong, and I am happy and sukhi. Right? So in this way, the asuric sampa is described. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing devotee, the characteristics of a devotee. And he says we should be tolerant like the tree and think of ourselves as very small, insignificant parts of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavad Gita said, Mami Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Right? We're all eternally parts of the Supreme Lord. This is our eternal relationship. The Sanatana Dhamma. And that position does not change. Some people wrongly think that, well, actually I'm God, but I've forgotten it and I've come into this material world, but once I get liberated, I will become God again. Right? People have this thinking, which is wrong. It's not like that. You see, we're all eternally the servants. And there's never a time when that position changes. It is simply illusion to think, I am the master. We're learning how to serve, how to be the servant. We want to cultivate the mood of the servant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us very nice instruction here in Shikshastikam. This third verse, of course, is so important for us that Krishna Das Kaviraj says we should put this verse on a thread and wear it around our neck for constant remembrance. Just like many of us are wearing Kunti Mala, we wear the Tulsi neck beads around our neck. You know, this also to remind us that we're servants of Krishna. And Prabhupada said, just like dog collar, right? We are the dog of God, right? So we don't mean to be the dog of Krishna. We wear these neck beads. And it's also said that by having the neck beads, then if when we do depart from the world, we may not be able to remember Krishna. But because we have the neck beads around our neck, then the Yamaduts will not come because they understand, oh, this person, he is one of these devotees. He is one of the Vaishnava. And Lord Yamaraj had told the Yamaduts, never go to those people who are chanting the holy name and whose neck, round their neck, they have the Tulsi Mala. So it's very helpful, it's very beneficial for us to wear the Tulsi around our neck because it's an indication that we are engaging in the service of Lord Sri Krishna. So Mahaprabhu says, be tolerant like the tree and think of ourselves lower. Think of ourselves lower than the straw in the street. And that is our spiritual dimension. And thinking of ourselves as a soul, we have a relationship with every living entity. So then Mahaprabhu goes on to say, Amanina Manadena, that offer all respects to others and don't be anxious for respect for ourselves. So offering respect to others, this is a very important quality of the devotees. We want to see everyone on the spiritual platform. So devotees, they will see even the animals, even the plants, the trees. We will see all living entities like our brothers and sisters. Srila Prabhupada was in Australia at one point, and the devotees had arranged a program for him. It was in a monastery where a number of monks were living. So Srila Prabhupada went there and he met the monks, and the monks were very nice to him. And the monks told Prabhupada that one of their saints in their line was Saint Francis. And they said Saint Francis used to talk to the flowers and the trees. And he would address them saying, my dear sister flower, my dear brother tree. And when Srila Prabhupada heard this, he said, that is real God consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada appreciated that. And in the same way, we also do want to think of all living entities as spirit souls. We know in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a nice pastime which tells how on one occasion the devotees were traveling from Mayapur, led by Shivananda Singh, he was the leader, and they were traveling to Jagannath Puri. And every year they would walk from Mayapur to Jagannath Puri, take them a couple of weeks, and they go to be there in time for Rath Yatra. So it happened on one occasion, while they were walking, that a dog began to follow the devotees. And when the dog began to follow the devotees, then Shivananda Sen said, we should give the dog some prasadam. So they would give the dog prasadam. And at one point they had to go on the boat and cross over a river. And the boatman didn't want the dog to come. So Shivananda Sen paid extra money to the boatman to allow the dog to come on the boat. And in this way the dog accompanied them. One day, however, it happened that devotees forgot to give prasadam to the dog. And then the dog disappeared. And Shivananda Singh felt very bad that the dog had been neglected. He felt so bad that he fasted. He said, you did not give any prasadam to the dog, I'm not going to take any prasad either. They found the dog was there, and he was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the meat out of the coconut and throwing it to the dog. And the dog was eating the coconut and chanting, Hare Krishna. Very soon the dog disappeared and they never saw it. They knew the dog was being liberated from that dog body. So anyway, the point is, Krishna, we need to see the Lord in the heart of all living entities. Lord Krishna himself says, and that's why from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So devotee learns to offer respect to all creatures. Another example of this was Magrari, the hunter. Magrari, the hunter, he had the habit of trapping animals and letting them die a very slow, painful death. So it happened on one occasion, Narada Muni came through the forest. Now Narada Muni is a great devotee, and he travels many places. He has many wonderful disciples like Dhruva Maharaja and Prahlad Maharaj, many others, Vyasadeva, they're all disciples of Narada Muni. So Narada Muni was in the forest and he saw these animals in traps, and he saw how they were suffering and dying a slow, painful death. And he thought, who's done this terrible thing? And then Narada Muni saw there was a hunter, and he was about to fire an arrow at the deer. But Narada Muni appeared. When Narada Muni appeared, then the deer became disturbed and ran away. And the hunter turned and blamed Narada Muni. Oh, you came, you frightened the deer. It's your fault. And Narada Muni said, yes, I've saved you from committing another sinful activity. And Narada Muni went on to explain to the hunter that for every animal which you have given pain and suffering to, you will have to suffer the same pain. You will get the reaction for it. Whatever you do to others will come back to you. Of course, we know this as the law of karma. Right? And in every culture in the world, practically, they have this kind of understanding. In Hindi language, they say, Jaisa karega, aisa barega. And in China, they have a similar saying. They say, Shan yo shan bao, yo bao. Shan means, if you do good deeds, you will get good reactions. And if you do sinful things, you will get reactions for punishment. And in Christian Bible, it says, as you sow, so shall you reap. Right? If you plant melons, you will harvest melons. You don't harvest beans. You plant beans, you will harvest beans. So you do good, you will get good results. And you do bad things, you will get bad reactions. Difficulties come. So we should understand the cause of our difficulties, the cause of our suffering, that is all due to our past actions. And we're all guilty of some kind of bad activities. That's why we're here in this material world. And that's why we have a material body, because we did things which were not very good. And we get another body in the material world. People often think, I'm a good person. when bad things happen, we think, oh, I don't know why this happened to me. You know, we don't understand. We think, I never did anything to deserve this. But we should understand the laws of nature, how everything works. But there's a controller, there's a law. Just like here in Dubai, you may be driving your car and they've got the cameras everywhere. Right? And you disobey one of the little rules in their driving code, and that next day you'll get the mail on your email, fined, right? So many hundreds of dirhams, or maybe even more.
500 minimum.
500 minimum, is it? Really? Yeah. One of the devotees I know, I was in Europe, and a devotee in Switzerland was driving. He got a fine 3,000 Swiss francs. That's like, you know, that was a big fine, just for one driving offense, you know. And so, you know, we say, I didn't know. Innocence does not get you free, right? If you go to court and tell the judge, I didn't know. But still, you have to suffer. You get the reactions. So in the same way, we're all here in this material world. And we've forgotten Krishna. And that's the cause of all of our suffering. We act in the foolish ways, we do things wrong, and we get reactions. And when the reactions come, we don't know why it happened. But there's always some reason. Like, of course, karma is a very complicated thing. Like husband and wife, they share each other's karma. And if the wife does some nice activities, the husband enjoys the benefit of that. Like that, there's a reciprocation. So families together, they also have karma. And being in a country, taking birth in a particular country, you have a karma. So it's a very complex thing to understand. But we want to get free of karma. We want to get rid of all that, because karma is what keeps you in the material world. So good karma or bad karma will keep you in the material world. We would like to get free of karma. And you can get free of karma very easily by bhakti yoga. Simply by engaging in the acts of devotion dedicated to Lord Krishna. So like that, we encourage devotees, you know, don't just eat food, but eat prasadam, honor prasadam. And we encourage devotees, read these books like Bhagavad Gita and chant the holy name. Do the chanting. We have to engage in these kinds of activities. And this will help us to get rid of all of our karma. Because the acts of devotion are very powerful. They burn up all the karma, all the seeds, all the activity, all the reactions from the past. They're all taken away just by the acts of devotion. So you're having this nice Kirtan Mela, and an opportunity for people to get rid of karma. But of course, if you forget Krishna and go back to material life again, then the karma will come. But so long as you continue to engage in service to Krishna, then you can remain on the transcendental platform. And you won't have to be burdened by the reactions. So it's very important for us to learn how to overcome our entanglement in the material world. Certainly entanglement is there. We get attached. We become very conditioned to particular situations. To overcome that tendency, we have to practice very seriously the path of devotion. which begins with hearing and chanting. We have to hear. Just like you've come here tonight, you're hearing, I'm trying to explain to you something, and you must have heard before you came here, you've heard from other people. So hearing is something which goes on. I also have to hear, and I also take time to hear regularly from other people. So hearing is something which we do. It's just a question of who you want to hear from. Now, if you hear from people not devotees, then we will hear the topic of the material world. You know, there are two kinds of katha. There's gramya katha, meaning the village talk. Right? And phones, you can hear that. That's the gramya katha coming, right? The gramya katha, the village. You know, ladies, if they're living in the village, they go to the well in the morning, go to get the water, and when they go to the well, they meet each other and they say, did you hear? Do you know what happened? And, oh, you know, the ears pick up, they're very eager to hear more, tell me more. You know, that is the gramya katha, the village talk. The village talk, these nonsense talk, will cause us nonsense thought. We start to think foolishly. And nonsense thought will cause nonsense actions. And when we start to act foolishly, then again, birth and death. We will remain in the material world. We take birth again in another village, you know. Come back again. So, Gramya Katha, we want to avoid the Gramya Katha. We want to hear topics of Krishna. That is in effect. When we hear topics of Krishna, Satam Prasanga Mamavirya Samvido Bhavan Karana Rasayana Katha. Right? Topics of Lord Krishna, when heard in the association of devotees, are very pleasing to the ear and to the heart. And by hearing from the devotees, then our devotional service advances, and we start to develop more faith, and we go on to develop attachment to Krishna. We want to serve Krishna. We will develop love for Krishna. So this brings us to the higher levels of devotion. It all comes taking pleasure hearing. Lord Kapila told his mother, find the association of the sadhus and hear from them. You want to question them and hear more about the nature of the animal. We want to understand, just like Sanatana Goswami, he met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Sanatana Goswami, he had become the Prime Minister under the service of the Nawab Hussain Shah. The Nawab Hussain Shah changed, just like Navadvip. Navadvip was the center of learning 500 years ago. Nobody thinks of it as being very important today. But 500 years ago, all the great pundits were there. And similarly, the Nawab Hussain Shah, he was ruling Bengal from Ramakeli. If you go to Ramakeli today, it's a village. But you can see the ruins from when the Nawab was there. And the ruins are so important that people come from around the world just to see these ruins. Especially historians who are making a study of things like this. They come to see these ruins. Magnificent buildings, he had huge buildings, big structures. They're all decayed, but still the ruins are there. So Sanatana Goswami was the Prime Minister in the service of the Nawab. Now he was born originally in a Brahmana family. But he had somehow got involved with the Nawab, and the Nawab wanted him to be one of his main men in the government. He made him the prime minister, and he gave him a Muslim name. He changed his name to Sakara Malik. And he was even like a Muslim, he had the beard, like not shaved, and the same kind of dress. So Sanatana, although he was doing this, he was not happy. And he heard about Mahaprabhu. He had heard how Mahaprabhu was a young man. He defeated the Digvijay, Keshava Kashmiri in debate. And he led also a revolution against the Chandkazi. And he got the Chandkazi to approve Sankirtan. The Chandkazi promised that as long as I live, as long as my descendants live, no one will ever stop the Sankirtan movement. So it was big news. Mahaprabhu was doing these things. But then he took sannyas and he went to Puri. And when he got to Puri, then he liberated Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a very great scholar. He was training all the sannyasis in the line of Shankara. And Mahaprabhu made him a devotee. He was a Mayavadi, but Mahaprabhu made him into a devotee. So it became big news that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has joined the Hare Krishnas. Oh, what a shock, right? So Lord Chaitanya was making, big sound waves around the world, and Sanatana Goswami was in Ramakeli, and he was hearing about it, and he thought, I want to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he wrote a letter to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and told him how he was so much impressed, and he wanted to help Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu was going to go to Vrindavan, and he came that time, he came to Ramakeli, and he met with Sanatana Rupa also. And Lord Chaitanya told the two of them, he said, you're here working for these cow killers. It is not good. You have to finish that job, leave that job. Not just like when I became a devotee, when I first came, I used to go to temple and I had a job. I used to go to work and come back to the temple. And then they told me, give up that job. And so I thought, why not give up the job? I was a young man. I was only 21. And I just graduated from university and I'd taken a job. But, you can get jobs. You can always find another job, You lose one job, there's always another job around the corner. So I gave up and similarly Sanatan, when Lord Chaitanya came there, he also thought, I should give up, I should get out of this work, because I'm working for these cow killers. It's not good. So Sanatan, at first the Nawab put him in jail, but Sanatan was very clever, and he told the jailer, if you let me go, I'm going to go to Mecca. And I will go there, do pilgrimage, I will offer prayers for you. And he promised the jailer also, he gave him a lot of money too. And so then the jailer, he let him out of jail, he let him escape from the jail. So Sanatan got out of the jail, and he came and he met Mahaprabhu, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they met at Varanasi. Mahaprabhu was in Varanasi. He was with a couple of devotees, and he met Sanatana Goswami. Lord Chaitanya told the devotees, he said, a great devotee has come. He's outside. Bring him in. So they went outside, and they saw there was only some Muslim mendicant. So he came back in. They told Lord Chaitanya, there's only some Muslim mendicant there. There's no devotee there. And Lord Chaitanya personally went opened the door and he saw Sanatan. He embraced Sanatan. Because he recognized, he knew Sanatan. So he brought him in. And then he brought him in and he told devotees that, this is Sanatan, he's my disciple, direct disciple, who's come to join. And Sanatan put questions to Lord Chaitanya. He said, people call me a learned person. Sanatan was very learned. He could speak many languages, Persian, Arabic, Bengali, Hindi, all the languages, and he was very fluent. He could write beautiful poems in Sanskrit and everything. So Sanatan said, people say, I'm learned, they call me a pandit. But he said, actually, I don't even know who I am. And I don't know why I am suffering. So this is very important, very nice question. Sanatan began by putting questions to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya liked to hear this kind of question. Sanatan wants to know, who am I? Why am I suffering? So this is our position in material life. We are thinking we're the material body. And we don't know why we're suffering. We want to enjoy. We want to be happy. Why are we not happy? And because of all of our problems, forgetfulness of Krishna. Krishna Pulyajiv Anadir Bahya Dukha. Itaiva Maya Taradeha Samsara Dukha. We have forgotten Lord Krishna. We have forgotten Lord Krishna since time immemorial. And we've been looking, instead of Krishna, we've been looking at the external world, at the material energy. And that is the cause of all of our suffering. We're not looking at Krishna, we're not seeing the real self. We're only seeing the material body, the material world. We're seeing everything separate from Krishna. We have to come back to Krishna consciousness. So Lord Chaitanya went on to instruct Sanatan how to become Krishna conscious, chanting the holy name and studying Shastra. Very good to see so many Bhagavad Gita here. We have to study Bhagavad Gita and chant the Bhagavad Gita. On Monday is actually the day, I think. So try to chant the Bhagavad Gita, read the verses every day, not only on the day when Krishna spoke, but every day we need to read, we need to hear, we need to remind ourselves, because we've been in the material world a very long time and we've forgotten Krishna. So we have to be reminded. Right? Just like if you get a bump on the head, you forget everything. How do you get your memory back? You have to be reminded. That many times happens, lose the memory. Doctor, do you know who you are? No. What happened? I don't know. Why am I here? You forget everything. How do you get the memory back? They have to introduce you. Oh, here's your husband. Oh no. Here are your children. This is your home. You have to go home gradually. You come and we start to remember. The same way we have to come to temple. We have to see Krishna. We are all Krishna's servants. This is the Supreme Lord. We are all His servants. We have to be reminded of these things. So this is why it's important. Go to temple regularly, see the deity, chant some prayers, take the prasad, remind ourselves of our eternal situation, of our eternal position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Jai.
So we are fortunate to have Maharaj here. Maharaj is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So we will chant 3 times for Maharaj's help. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada Ji.
It is all our new devotees, Maharaj, we got through book distribution. We did book distribution and these all were connected through book distribution.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good.
Last from 2022 we started the satsang. Like every Sunday we are gathering together, studying Bhagavad Gita. So please bless us also to speed up in our bhakti.
Yes, you're blessed. You can see